Alright guys, welcome back to some more Megabasing 101. As always, I'm joined by Mojo and Zuri.
So,
Greetings.
I was waiting for one of you to steal the other.
Nah.
Alright,
one day we're going to steal yours. It's going to be hilarious.
and then you're gonna get shot. So, alright. So we have the smelters laid out here as last time. We have some Mojo has some notes which we'll go over, but very first off, because this is probably where most of you are watching as the beginning, and a lot of you still had questions about the different train lengths. Well, train lengths and alignment with odd train numbers, which we tried to explain. I thought we explained it well, but we might have complicated it more, and people may be more visual learners. So I set up a little example here, and what we were saying, essentially, is the reason we're doing an odd length train is so that they line up when your stations are on different ends. So here we have even length trains, 2, 2, 2, which is a total of 6, which is even. I have one station here, and then we have a same length, 6 here, going the other direction, and these do not line up. No matter where I place this station, let me just pick it up and show on my screen, no matter where I place this, it's not going to line up, right? It's always going to be off, either ahead of it or behind it a little bit, and they do not line up like this. However, over here, we have odd length, a 1, 3, 1, which is a total of 5, and you can see here that they do perfectly line up, even though they're coming in from different directions. So this is the purpose behind us going these odd length trains that we tried to explain, is for this reason here, because they line up this way, whereas down here they do not. So that pretty much takes care of that. Hopefully that is clear enough. I'm not sure. I can't make it any clearer. I mean,
I can't think of anything else. The only other thing I can think of to comment on it is this train is 34 tiles long from the end to end, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 one-tile gaps
right.
between the wagons, and that's why it's an even number. And this one has the odd gap because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles, and that's what puts it off, because this one's 41 tiles long.
That's actually a really good way to put it. So yeah, that pretty much explains it, and that's our reasoning here.
Each wagon loco, I think I said this last time, is 7 tiles long effectively. It's 6 for the body and then a half either side.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so that kind of helps clarify it. So you go. There's a train thing. Now, moving on, I guess we can go over your notes, Mojo, and then Zuri, after that, you came up with a little bit of a change and improvement for our circuit build, which we can cover as well. But
Yeah.
Mojo had some notes.
So, first off, some furnaces were missing, requesters and providers. Quite a few people pointed that out. And what was it, took like 3 seconds after I said it, it's already fixed. So that's done.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed one.
Most... Never mind.
All right.
Yeah. It was just the first row one, each one opposing, because it was in the original blueprint and it was copied. The laser-eyed viewers here, just bloody can't hide anything from
I know, it's crazy. So then also the modules, and we know there were speed 1s in some of them. We will fix that once it's built. We'll just go along manually and do it.
Yeah.
I might have already
there's
fixed
some
that
prod
too.
1s and prod 3s.
Yeah. So we might have actually
Yeah,
fixed
most
it.
of these have been fixed to prod 3s, although there's still some prod 1s here. But you can control-click to upgrade them, so it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, you could even just get rid of them and replace them with a blueprint.
Let's see. So there's a few comments that have been saying, or there was one in particular, I actually replied to it as well. And it's also come up in live streams. Like, once doing builds like this sort of takes the fun out of it. Was an interesting comment that I thought. And the way we sort of want to present this is more about the maths behind it than doing this specific design. Because I use the same maths for my red belt sign space
Right, and it's completely belt based, so it's entirely different, but the
Yeah.
same math and approach almost to it.
Yeah, so I use the Barrycon calculator to get the overall numbers, and then I use the same calculations to build the smelters and the various different builds. But I then had to throw in the bottlenecks and quirks of belts and the pain that entails.
Yeah, exactly. So, uh, yeah, that's a really good point. Just to clarify that we're not saying build like this, use this specific build. Hell, we're not even saying use bots. But for us, in demonstration purposes, we decided to go bots, and for performance reasons, since we don't all want to be lagging out while we're showing this.
Yeah, so we're just presenting this particular one as a very highly bot optimized system. And this actually leads on to one of the last points, which was do what you want in the game. But try to avoid saying this is how to do it, because a lot of people say this is how to do it, this is how to win the game, and it's not really how a sandbox game works. I try and avoid saying like loops are bad, and because you're free to do whatever the hell the train you feel like. It's your game. Don't let anyone tell you how to have fun. Then it becomes work.
Yeah, this is more of just a guidebook or a guideline for you guys. If you're struggling with scaling up to a megabase, then this series is intended to help you get there with just showing the principles behind it, opposed to using actual builds.
Yeah, every build does have a pro and con to it, and it helps the most to understand what those are. And some people say it's best because they approve of all the pros and hate all the cons, and that's not really how you should be playing. Have fun and do your best to understand the pros and cons of every build you're using.
Yeah, it's also a principle in engineering where you select a certain criteria that you want to meet, and then you design for it. But then, and what happens is if someone comes along and they have a different sort of frame of reference, different criteria, it all appears wrong.
Yep,
Because that's where that comes from.
And it's back to the drawing board.
Yep.
Got new clients.
Yep. So you had
Fun times.
one more point, which will be really interesting to discuss. But if you don't mind, let's just quickly do the circuit thing, because we're standing here anyway.
Yep.
And then maybe we can build stuff while we discuss the other one, because it will probably be a fairly maybe lengthy discussion, and getting some building done would be good. So here's the circuit fix you did, Zuri. For just a quick reminder for people that the 1-to-1 ratio here, if there were modules in these, is not quite a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you just use one inserter pass through like this, it can't actually quite keep up inserting the cable in here. So you did this fix, Zuri.
Yeah, I decided to split them, requesting the iron in 2 requester chests, and then wiring an inserter to put in half a stack of cabling into each of those chests, so that the load outputting is split between 2 inserters, and then the draw is split between 2 inserters as well.
Right, and you've managed to do this without making the build actually physically bigger, which means that since the machines are working more, but the build itself isn't bigger, we can actually overall build less of them, which will be good.
Yes, and the only drawback is there's 2 inserters in this entire build that is wired, so they never actually sleep. And that should not be a problem, because overall we should be seeing UPS savings in, keeping the bot build smaller.
Right. One other quick thing I want to mention, is because I know some other people will mention it anyway, so I want to get it out of the way, is yes, we now have requesters, or logistics chests rather, on both sides of the assemblers. Before it was an alternative build where it's just one inserter, they would have all just been in the front, so it would have been less travel for the bots. But again, since we are actually letting these run more, then that may be made up for, so it's not that big of a deal. But just to mention it, because I know somebody probably would have. And yeah, so we had our numbers. I don't remember, did we ever calculate how many of these we needed to get?
I don't think so. Also, I just noticed that the inserters went to sleep.
The wired ones?
Yeah, they're inactive right now.
Really?
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, I had the show active state up and they were off, and then or they were on and then they turned off.
Maybe does it matter if there's something in the chest? Maybe.
Well, I just switched them because I set them incorrectly to enable if wires greater than 100.
Oh.
So I switched it to less than 100.
And that turned them off.
Well, they should be on.
Well, that's what I mean.
Because there's the condition works.
Yeah. Yeah, they're turning on and turning off.
Well, hey.
How about that?
A new optimization appeared.
Woohoo! What a discovery.
that's a fairly recent one too.
Yeah.
Hey, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty awesome. So that makes this even better.
Yeah. So, well, that negates the active inserter issue.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, I know you had up the numbers, Mojo, on just how many circuits total we need. Do you still have those?
Not on hand, actually. I forgot to open it. I opened everything else.
Oh, dear. All right. Let's see. Also, so we decided we were doing iron here, copper like way over to the left, and steel kind of down where this marker is, and then circuits over here. Steel was going to be like, were we thinking just like across from the iron so they can kind of just travel back and forth? Or what were we think? I forget.
Combined stacker, where the locomotive icon is on the map. I was going to have a combined stacker and then have straight ore to steel smelters where the steel icon is.
Okay.
That's what I was hoping to do anyway.
Yeah, straight ore to steel is actually a good way to do it. It kind of reduces the logistical challenge a bit, and it's just I think also better for bots because you're eliminating having to move the plate for the steel back and forth.
Yeah, and also I forgot to import and adjust the steel build that we're using.
Which one is it? Oh, that one, yeah. Okay, well...
Yeah, the one from the workshop, I hope.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting build. So...
that reminds me too, now that I looked at the map, there's a gear icon above the top smelter.
Oh, yeah.
And that was something we discovered at the end of last session, as I was going through the numbers, and I've got the thing open now again. So, where are we? Need each build produced about 16,000, was it, or 14,000? I actually can't remember now.
Well, slightly over 14,000 if I remember correctly.
Which? The gears?
So it was one dedicated smelter and a little bit from a second one. To feed as much gears as we need. So we can dedicate a line for that one smelter and then have a shared line for a second smelter.
Yeah, and if gears are going on top, it would probably be best to have the top smelter dedicated and then, shared line from some other one.
It's actually where it gets rather interesting because the dedicated line, with all of the military packs going at 1,000 per minute, just to backpedal a little bit, iron gears needs 17,964 iron plate, which is a little bit more than one smelter's worth. So one of these smelters can almost supply the iron gear wheels that we need.
Right.
Now, that's counting military packs, but because we're doing SpaceX research, so it is finite, there's not actually that much in the way of military research. And so it turns out, once you remove military packs, you only need 12,351 iron plate to make the gears. So you could just dedicate a gear build direct from the first smelter.
That sounds like a better plan. And this may sound like anathema from me, but buffering up enough military science to complete a research might be the best option.
So
I think you only needed like 7,000 military packs to complete the research as well.
Are we making military now at any pace whatsoever?
Only what the starter base does.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is if we're not like planning the overall build to be able to produce military science, what are we going to buffer it from?
The build, if we build a full military build, which I wouldn't actually mind doing because we've never actually done one previously, like we never did one in Mad Science properly.
Yeah, then you mean just dedicate materials that it needs to buffer X amount and then it just turns off? Okay.
Yeah. Or just you stockpile the military packs at the labs and then do the military research once it reaches a certain level. Like a trainload of military packs is more than enough for a few researchers, or at least one research. They stack in 200s.
Yeah.
I'm heading
got-
back to grab some
Alright.
supplies to build a outpost for landfill, actually. In case you're wondering where I'm
Ooh.
going.
Sounds good. Do you have modules on you, Mojo?
It is.
Please. Thank you. I think there's another inserter needed somewhere.
There we go.
I'm not, or not inserter, power, let's see, does this tile, like, that? Oh, the top beacons. Okay, we do need,
Yeah, it needs one on the top.
I don't have a power pole. I have nothing. Perfect. Okay. Let me re-blueprint this.
There you go.
So many construction alerts. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Blame the solar.
How is solar doing? It's slowly getting its panels. It's mostly lacking in accumulators. I think. Is it a battery problem? Is the question. Yes. Yes,
And
it
that's
is.
an oil
I'll
problem.
go check if
I'm
necessary.
guessing.
They're prodded one end. So probably could benefit from some more machines or beaconing the machines or the chemical plants, to be more precise.
Do you have a number on how many green circuits we need?
Oh yeah, I did get the number on hand. Let's see, 52,274.
52,000 something and hold on. Okay, so each one of these makes 15.4 green circuits a second, 924 a minute. Okay, give me that number again.
So 52,274.
Just say 75 for now. Divided by 924. So we need about 56. Really? That's it? No. Really? No, this is not right. I did something wrong.
No, 57.
57 is that's it. Really? Seems like it
Hang
should be
on.
way higher.
Multiply it by 14/15ths
Why?
because of the 1-to-1.
But
They don't run 1-to-1. So the circuit assemblers run at. So that's if the circuit machines were running at full speed, but they're not because they'll slightly fall behind the copper wire. So they only run 14/15ths of the time.
you know what? Could we just rewind and you just don't say that? Because now that's making me realize I messed up my calculations for my other series.
Oh, no.
I think you oh dear.
I did the same thing in my base. So my 36 blue belts of green circuits is actually a little bit less, and so it doesn't quite produce what it should.
All right, so if we what am I supposed to do? Divide that by 14/15ths? How the hell am I supposed to do that?
Multiply it by 14/15ths.
How do I do that? I can't do a fraction.
Divided by 15, multiply by 14.
Divide by 15. Okay, multiply by 14. So we actually need less, which makes no sense. You would need more. I think maybe that was backwards.
So
No, that's the
57
production per. Is
Yeah.
you have to do it the other way around to get the number of machines you need.
Now I need to figure out how to diagrammatically explain this again. So 57 should actually produce 49,000 green circuits.
Well, then let's just say we need, I don't know, 70,
62.
62. Is that would be enough?
61 actually
Let's
works.
do 62.
All right, it's a nice even number. It means that the build will be balanced.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if we can do it. Maybe we can do it in one build. That's 31 assemblers per side, which is actually no good. Might have to go to 64 or 60.
That doesn't matter.
64. So 32 per side. That's getting a little big, but maybe doable.
Sim map, we had 2 of these.
Yeah. Oh, we did? Oh, yeah, we did. In the sim map. Maybe 2 would be better, huh?
Get the modules in the beacons for the purposes of blueprinting. Although we should actually have the module straight into this one because it helps produce more modules later on.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what we discussed in the first episode, I think.
Yeah. So, okay, if we have 2 builds, and that means 32 per build, which would be 16 per side. If we did like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we did like 10 in the first row and we could taper it to do 6 in the back, or just do 8, 8, like 8 first row, 8 back row. I don't know that we want to do 16 in one row, because that's pretty long.
Yeah, it's a bit big.
I don't know what size trains.
You got all my train bits.
Here. What size plate trains were we doing again? Weren't they 2.5?
5. So about that.
Okay.
Arguably, the circuit trains could be shorter because the stack size increases.
Circuit load, yeah. So that was, I don't know how many I put in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 would actually be maybe just 2 rows of 8, because you don't want them extending too far past the wagons, otherwise your bots get a little bit unhappy.
Yeah, it gets a little bit big. I realize also I haven't allowed for roboports, but this is just an example.
This is for length.
This is a sketch.
A little bit above a kernel will sketch. At least you're using trains to demonstrate trains.
I'm not using yellow belt
or assemblers
wooden
or something.
chests or something.
Okay, so this is 8. Oh, this is gonna drive me nuts. That like sticks out and that doesn't. These are also backwards, I think. Are these backwards? I mean, there's 2 chests on either. Actually, the one in the front would be requesting more. So this may actually be fine.
There we go. The train's about in the center.
That's probably good. So 2 rows of this maybe on either side.
Yep. I'm sure Can will also say exactly what's wrong with it as well.
I'm sure. I know he's not going to like the chests here, but that's fine. And in fact, that's a good point. We encourage you guys to, leave feedback and like tell us, like, you missed this or put this backwards, because we certainly will miss that stuff.
I didn't notice the productivity 1 modules and that smelter that was missing the chests.
Yeah, I didn't either. How's that outpost going, Zuri?
It's kind of going.
Landfill outpost. I like it. You almost need one, really, if you want to do any large amount of landfilling.
Even if you want to landfill a little bit of space for an oil base or something, you need a lot. It's 20 stone for 1 tile of landfill, which is 1 tile of water.
Yeah,
nominally.
It gets really expensive. So this should be good to go. All the requests are set. All the modules are in. The power things are there. So this, I believe, can be blueprinted. Let's grab that. And do stupid rocks. I hate these rocks.
They're the true enemy.
They're worse than trees. And don't even start with the rocks are our friends thing. They are not.
Rocks used to be a lot worse, I'm telling you.
They did, actually. So before we get carried away blueprinting, first thing is it's off-grid relative to the track. Because it's either got to be 1 tile up or 1 tile down.
Right. Well, let me stick this here and I'll blueprint this whole thing and then we can move it.
Alrighty.
So, yeah, kind of another, I mean, just a note again in terms of saving space and efficiency, again, because, you know, if you're going for Megabase, performance will become a concern, maybe even the biggest concern, depending, you know, what kind of computer you have or how big you're going.
I like the game to run at a reasonable pace.
Yeah, it's no fun
That's
playing
the
at
reason why I
like
haven't been
20 at UPS.
That's
It's
why I
also
haven't
an
played mine in a
issue
while.
while playing multiplayer.
That is true. So the point I'm making here is what Mojo said about it being like off grid is there was an extra tile, that from the build to the track that doesn't need to be there, and we can't move the track to adjust for it because the track move in 2 tile increments because of their grid and how they work. But the build we can move in 1 tile, so that's why we're going to move it, because reducing 1 tile on either side is 2 less tiles bots have to travel, and I mean you apply that to all your builds and it does make a difference.
Yeah, all those little bits add up.
Yeah. So okay, so Blue, do you have any more robo ports?
I do.
Just because we want, yeah.
Suppose we should also align them with the center of the build too, instead of just throwing them down.
What, the robo ports?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's not really the center. The middle of. Actually, where is the center?
Oh, it's one of those kinds.
One of these stupid builds that doesn't have a center.
There should be a center.
Yeah, like right here, the middle of this cable.
It'll have an odd center, a 1 tile center, not a tile boundary center.
It'll be close enough, at least if we try. So, the middle of this cable assembler, this requester essentially would be the center.
Wait, you have an even number. So, Exterminator, step half a tile to the left, and that should be the center.
Yeah, this requester chest, right?
Yeah.
No, but between the circuit and the cabling.
Yeah.
Okay, good point.
Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 machines to your left, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 machines to your right. In theory, the distance... Oh yeah, the distance does actually balance there too, from the requesters on the left at that copper wire machine to the circuit machine on the
Good
right.
point. I'm a derp.
And since the wagons are 6 tiles, you center that wagon on that line to make the train stops. And then you can also center the ports. Yeah, just like that.
Now, I don't know how we plan to get power to this. Typically, we leave like a space in here to put a power pole, but...
Substations?
Oh god. This again.
Uh,
Not the substations.
Not the substations again.
It may be the only option, though, unless we move these. We could center them still by just having them each off 1 tile from center. I don't know, but then the power pole wouldn't be centered.
Ah, the fun of powering these things.
Yeah, this is. I mean, you could just power it on the outside, really. I mean, you could just do that.
Yes, works.
Yeah,
Fine.
I'll just do that. Okay, so now that those are there, I'll grab a blueprint, and we can move the whole thing forward 1.
The question is, will you see it move, the circuit build blueprint move this time or next time?
That is the question. How far are we? We're at
20.
All right, let's end it here. You'll see it move next time. And we'll also discuss, you had one more note that I am really interested in discussing, but...
We'll torment you and leave you hanging.
Yeah, so stay tuned for next episode, guys. As always, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and let us know if we messed up again.